there is something about Jamal I didn't like, and after this last episode of the Single Life Tell-All, I think I finally figured it out. So Jamal, he doesn't want to be with Veronica anymore. He pretty much pulled away from the relationship, sent her an emoji with the peace sign, and then just distanced himself from her. He couldn't give her a very good reason why, and I think it was just simply because the season was ending. I feel like he saw Veronica as an opportunity, and he slithered his way into her arms to get a guaranteed season on the Single Life, and that's exactly what happened. And now it seems like he's trying to do the same exact thing with Tim's ex, Luisa. And so let's get into this Single Life Tell-All part 500, it feels like at this point. Like, how many damn tell-alls parts are we going to have this season? Every week when I think the tell-all is finally over, we see another teaser for another tell-all next week. And I'm like, damn, but it looks like next week is going to be the 5th and final tell-all. In the teaser, it looks like Mike shows up and he brings what looks like divorce papers with him. And I mean, it's about damn time. Michael has moved on with a new girl, and it's about that time for him to divorce and move on with his life. Now let's talk about the 4th part of the tell-all with Luisa and Tim and Veronica and Jamal. So Luisa, she went on a few dates with Tim this season, and she accuses Tim of being gay because she claims that he's never affectionate with her, and that's what all her friends are telling her. And she would lean in to kiss him, and Tim would never make a move, and he wasn't comfortable doing all that stuff, so her only answer is that Tim must be gay. And Tim became extremely irritated and said he felt like he was having deja vu because he feels like at every tell that he's a part of, that's the same conversation they're always having, hyper-focusing on the fact that they think that Tim may be gay. I get where people may think that Tim is gay because he's really flamboyant, but I just think the man isn't very affectionate. I question if maybe he was asexual, and he may very well be, but since he still has an interest in trying to get a partner and date, I don't believe he's asexual. But not everyone is just big on sex and affection. But not everyone is just big on affection. I know, because I'm the same way, and I've had problems in my life where people feel like I'm not into them because I'm not a very affectionate person. And you can be like that for many reasons. It could be from trauma or things that may trigger trauma, or just people being depressed, stressed out. Even Veronica said that Tim was low energy, and his parents may have not shown him much affection growing up, so affection may be awkward and uncomfortable for him. Or some people just have low confidence and feel vulnerable and exposed by physical touch. And I think Tim has a little bit of that because he was so self-conscious when Luisa was just trying to give him a kiss because he was so worried about his breath. He could have performance issues. I dated a guy like that before, and he didn't like to be affectionate because he was scared it was going to lead to the next thing, and he didn't want to be embarrassed because of that. And John and Debbie even brought up that maybe he just needs to get on some testosterone, because a lot of men, as they get older, they need testosterone. My fiance is currently on it, and John said that once he started taking testosterone shots, he was ready to take his girl to Pound Town 24/7. And I feel like if Tim was actually gay, I feel like he would have no problem living in his truth, especially with how much he's been accused of it before in the past. Of course, while Luisa was accusing Tim of not liking women, Jamal was in the back defending Luisa. And I could tell from the moment that we saw them at the tell-all, and he was in the back saying, "Oh, don't worry, I got your back." From their body language and the way they're acting and looking at each other, you could tell that the tell-all wasn't the first place that these two had met up, and you could tell that they had met up in person before this, and there's more going on than what we were seeing at the tell-all. In my opinion, I think Jamal just used Veronica, and it's crazy because the same thing he was accusing Usman of doing and dragging him for to his mom is the same thing he's doing to Veronica. And Sean, the host, then told the cast to take a break so they can go to the bathroom, have a snack, and come on back. And during the break, Jamal decides to take Veronica to the side and have a talk, and he's like, hey, are we cool? And she's like, hey, how about you call me later and we'll see how cool we are. He then leaned in to kiss Veronica with his eyes wide open because he was trying to keep an eye out to make sure Luisa did not see him doing this. And I think that was just his attempt to try to stay on good terms with Veronica so he can not look like the bad guy. And I just feel like this man was just using her, like I said. And Veronica was so excited after that kiss that she still thought her and Jamal had a chance. So she went to talk to the other cast members, and they're talking about going to dinner after the tell-all. And Veronica says, well, if I'm coming, then Jamal's coming with me. And girl, I don't know about all that because it sounds like he's going to be busy with Luisa. We learned later in the episode that Chantel told Natalie and Tyree and a few other people that she saw Luisa and Jamal in the hotel lobby of her hotel hanging out the night before. And this is the part where you can't tell me that Jamal is a clout chaser. That's just my personal opinion, because Jamal has done TV for at least a few years now. He did 90 Day Fiancé with Usman and his mom. He's been on Pillow Talk. He was on tell-alls with his mom. He did the last Single Life tell-all with Veronica. Then this Single Life tell-all. And Jamal's been on so many different episodes that he ain't no fool. He knows how a hot mic works. A hot mic is what happens, you know, when a producer's not asking you questions or you're not on the stage and you still have the microphone on you and it's still recording. When you sign these contracts, you sign and agree that any hot mic footage can be used in the show. So he goes off in this little back room with Luisa, and he starts talking about how great of a night he had the night before with Luisa. Luisa was like, yeah, I had a great time from what I remember, but I only remember a little bit. And Jamal was smiling and flirting with Luisa as he talked about how he enjoyed every minute with Luisa. They hooked up a few times and it was a 10 out of 10. And when Jamal told Luisa they hooked up a few times, she gasped. She was so shocked because she could not remember that at all. And it just disturbed me because if she couldn't even remember what happened except bits and pieces, then it's obvious that she was in no condition to give proper consent. Jamal said once she fell asleep, he left. And of course, I feel like they had to say all this at the tell-all on purpose, in my opinion, because they could have talked about this when they hung out that night. But it just seems like they knew the cameras were still rolling and the audio was recording and they wanted the attention so they can try to get on another season. Jamal knows he is not going to get on another season unless it's Pillow Talk with his mom again. But he's done with the Single Life unless he still strings Veronica along. And at the tell-all at the end, it sounded like he was still trying to do that and keep her as a backup plan. But him and Luisa could be the perfect opportunity for him to get another season. And after Jamal was just done stringing along Veronica, he was telling Luisa, okay, look, we dated them too, and now it's time for us to date. And I just hope he used protection when he was banging Luisa while she was so out of it that she couldn't even remember. My final thoughts, I hope Veronica does not take Jamal back after this, because if she does, it's giving desperate. And I hope they don't bring Jamal back for another season of the Single Life with Luisa. I just feel like that's what they're trying to set the stage for. And I think Tim needs to find a girl like him. It seems like he keeps going for all these super affectionate and very sexual girls. And you have to date people, of course, to figure out how they are. And it seems like once he figured out Luisa was like this, he started to pull away. But I feel like he needs to find somebody who's the exact girl version of him. He needs to find someone who isn't all touchy-feely, and if he's not a very affectionate person, he needs to be honest with these people he's dating and tell them that from the jump so they don't feel like it's something that they're doing wrong. And I feel like Jamal and Luisa, I don't think they're going to work out in the long run if they try to date. It looks like they're still on good terms because they're still following each other on Instagram, but I haven't seen any recent posts from them where they're together, but I still believe that they're under contract where they're not able to do things like that. And I think Luisa thinks Jamal is cute, but I don't think they'll last long term because it seems like Jamal isn't over his little player stage. I don't think he's ready to settle down and be in a relationship, and I just feel like his primary focus is trying to do whatever he needs to do to continue being on TV. It seems like he's going to continue riding that gravy train until the wheels fall off. And I feel like if Luisa wasn't there for an option, then we probably would have seen Jamal begging for Veronica back. And if she wasn't willing to take him back, hell, he probably would have tried his shot at Miss Debbie. It seems like he would have did anything for another season at this point. But that's just my personal opinion. I would love to hear what you guys think about this situation in the comments below. Check out my lashes and cosmetics at AccordingtoAmber.com. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.